Hi, my name is Lauren Braun Costello, and I'm the chef owner of Gotham Caterers here in New York City. And today we're going to make a delicious eggnog in the tradition of George Washington for the Christmas and holiday season. So eggnog is a drink that has a lot of alcohol in it, and George Washington's version, of course, includes rye, which is something he distilled himself at Mount Vernon, and he had a ton of it, so he had to come up with something very creative, a wonderful recipe to make use of all of his rye. And in this recipe, we have 2 cups of brandy, 1 cup of rum, 1 cup of rye whiskey, 1 cup of cream sherry. So once we've poured in all of our alcohol and combined it, we then can go to the next step, which is separating our eggs. So you want to use 10 large eggs or 8 extra large eggs. And it's very important when you're separating eggs to separate them using your hands so that you don't break the yolk into the white by passing it through the shell as some people do. And then on top of that, you want to do it in a separate container just in the event that you do, in fact, contaminate the eggs with some yolk. That way you don't risk your entire batch of whites. So we're going to put this yolk into a very large bowl in which we'll be adding sugar, milk, cream, and all the alcohol. And then we'll put the broken white into our big bowl of whites here that we'll whip into a meringue. Once you have your eggs separated, you're going to start with the yolks. And the first thing we do is add 3/4 of a cup of sugar to the yolks. And you're going to want to add that sugar all at once. There's our 3/4 of a cup. And we're going to add it all at once and begin beating vigorously. And when we pour that sugar in and we begin beating vigorously, these yolks are going to lighten and get really fluffy. See how they're lightening right now? Now that we have this beautiful light and fluffy egg yolk sugar mixture, we're going to add in the alcohols that we combined before. And we're going to pour those in somewhat slowly, and we're going to keep stirring. That way we don't curdle the eggs, because that's ultimately what eggnog is the alcohol is going to cook the eggs. So we don't want that to happen right away. It's a 5-day process. So now we have this nice brown mixture of eggs, which is just what we want. And now we're going to add in our dairy. So we start with a quart, 4 cups of heavy cream. And then we finish with a quart again, 4 cups of milk. So now we're going to work with our egg whites. And what we're going to do is make a very simple meringue, which means we're going to beat these egg whites to a stiff peak. So I'm going to use a balloon whisk and start beating them in my bowl. You certainly can use a hand mixer to get the job done. So perfect. We have some nice stiff peaks. And now what we're going to do is we're going to very gently fold in the egg whites into our cream and alcohol and egg yolk sugar mixture. So we'll take about half the whites, dump them in like so, and then very gently fold them in. Very gentle, because we don't want to lose all the body of those egg whites. So now that we have our egg whites folded into the remaining ingredients, we've poured it into this storage container. We're going to take some fresh nutmeg and grate it with a microplane right across the top. You can smell it. It's wonderful that way. Now that those spices are in there, we give it a quick stir just to incorporate them. You can see how frothy our mixture is from our nice folded egg whites. So in it goes, and out last week's comes. So we have a nice frothy batch from last week. You have to give it a really good shake. Otherwise you may get a few lumps. So give it a really good shake. And look at that wonderful, thick, creamy eggnog. Beautiful. And a lot of people love a little fresh, fragrant nutmeg on top. You can see how pretty that looks. Pretty cinnamon stick for garnish. Very happy holidays.